All right, welcome back from the episode of Carnivore Trades. Today is Thursday, June 23rd, 2022. If you like the content, give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, comment, etc. Or come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts and analysis. Anyways, so really kind of a choppy day, all things considered. That inside bar pattern that we talked about on the spiders here is still intact and going strong there. Same thing on the triple Qs here. And, nice little move up and consolidation here beneath resistance. So nothing really wrong there with the pattern, but there are a few things I find problematic here. You guys know me. I follow the semis very closely. They're often leading indicators, and to me, it seems the market's really worried about semiconductors right now. We had this nice inside bar that's basically mirrored what we saw there on the Qs and the spiders, and that broke down. And I've seen this happen before where we get an inside bar on the semis, on the triple Qs, and on the spiders. And when the semis break down, usually the Qs and the Qs and the spiders will follow. It's one of the reasons why I went short up here right at the top of the year. In the end of January, or in the end of December rather. So I'm seeing that. I don't like that. And the semis are not really participating in this bounce. There's a lot of sectors that are, and semis are not one of them. And I really want to see the semis start to move here and really catch up, because this is a leading sector. It's a very important sector. And to see it hanging around the lows here and not participating is problematic, and it does worry me a little bit here. The VIX also, we talked about the 29 handle. It's still hanging on to that. So even as we kind of, we dipped down here, and now we're rallying back. You see UVXY on my screen here is holding the gains there. The actual VIX here is holding the 29 handle. Now we're still about 35 minutes left in the day, so maybe they slam it down and close it below 29. But if we get below 29, I feel a lot better about this rally, and a lot better about the chances of the market having that inside bar kind of play out there on the spiders. But this 29 handle, as long as they continue defending that, it's going to look like, this, just flipping over on the ES here, looking like to me like that 3,800 area is going to continue to hold. And you're still inside of this red bar on the ES, and the same thing on the NQ. So there's, this market's not out of the woods. Just because we have an inside bar doesn't mean we're going to go higher. We had a beautiful one right here a few weeks ago, and that failed pretty hard. So that can happen when you're in a downtrend. Now, there are a few other things. For one, the closer we get to the 4th of July holiday, the lighter the volume will get, which definitely bodes well for the upside. So I would say if the bears want to really make a run at this market and try to push for new lows, they got to kind of do it soon here, because it's going to be way harder to do it when all the investors are taking off here for vacation. And, you never want to short a dull market. That's the saying. So that will be coming into play here shortly. Next week is a full trading week, and I believe the 3-day weekend is next weekend. So it'll be for over next Monday, but I would expect the volume to start to dry up by Wednesday. So just be aware of that. So again, there's reasons for a rally. There's definitely fuel for a rally. We know that. We've been talking about that a lot on here, but there are a few areas of concern. I want to see that VIX break that 29 handle, and I want to see the semis actually participate here. So speaking of the semis here, or things that have participated, we saw a lot of short covering, and I'm surprised that the semis didn't get any short covering. But let me show you here, Carvana up 12.5% here. This is a stock we played a few weeks ago, made some nice gains on it. Take a look at Unity Software here, up 12% as well. Square was a powerhouse today, up 9.5% here. Shopify, take a look at Shopify, up 6%. Arc, up 5.6. So a lot of these beaten down growth stocks are getting bids. Take a look at XBI, biotech here. This has been destroyed, and up 4.5%, almost 5%. Take a look at this monthly chart. This is getting dropped from a skyscraper here, really into double bottom. So nice, about time it got a bounce here. But we're starting to see some short covering here in some of these areas, and then we're seeing selling being rotated into fins and energy, and we'll talk about that in a little bit here. But overall, nice little short covering in some of these sectors. I want to see the semis participate. Another area that did well today, IGV. We've been talking about that a lot lately. Cloud software has been holding up really well. Maybe the market knows something that we don't about cloud software. Take a look at Zoom. pandemic stock. And not only has this been outperforming the market, this has been making higher highs, right? You came up here, bull flagged, came up here, bull flagged, and now you're starting to make higher highs here. You compare that to the triple Qs. I mean, this is vastly outperforming. So Zoom having a nice last month or two, and cloud software being helped out by that. So cloud is holding up nicely. It's really doing the job of the semis right now in terms of helping out tech. Dow transports still remain weak, still inside of this red bar. So there's another negative. You want to see the transports catch up. You know, the transports and the semis down at the same time, down at the low end of the chart, is not a good look. So we need to see these shape up here, get back above that that white trend line there at about 13.2. So that is going back here all the way to the beginning of 2021. So you want to see that reclaim that on a weekly close. And then that could be, you know, that could bode well there for the transports, but transports under pressure here. Anyways, flipping over to rates, 10-year came back down and essentially tested this green bar, finished off the lows, finished right on that 20 period moving average. If it gets through the 50, got it down to this gap fill and this kind of, well, it would be basically a triple bottom, but that was your near-term targets. Then you have that 100 period moving average just beneath that. 30-year, same thing, this pivot right here kind of coincides with the one on the 10-year if we were to get through those levels. HYG here, here's another positive here, I guess, to add to the positive pile. You know, up 62 basis points. It's a pretty good move. Still hasn't taken out this local high, but if it does that, you know, it would probably bode well for the market again. High yield debt has been a good leading indicator, and it does seem to take off a little bit sooner than the market. So usually by about a day or so, you know, we talked about this yesterday. We had that nice surge last month, and it preceded that nice surge that we had in the spiders there. So we'll keep an eye on high yield debt very closely here. XHB is liking the rally in bonds today. So home builders obviously helped out by the lower bond yield, and bonds backing and filling, ITB getting above this red bar. So good move there for ITB and XHB. It's going to probably go there and back test this breakdown area, maybe that gap. That's kind of your upside right now. And then VNQ here looks like it's, yeah, it's flirting with this red bar high. So if you get a close above that, it can go and fill this gap and test this breakdown area. So the real estate stocks getting a little bit of relief here with bonds bidding. So that is, you know, another positive there for the market. XLF, we talked about kind of a rotation, and they're covering shorts and kind of growth. And it's looking like we're seeing pressure here on financials, you know, still below this trend line here. Don't really like the look here on XLF. XBD, it is off the lows of the day, but still inside of this red bar. So it's got some work to do here. It's really got its work cut out for it in the meantime. But again, hanging out around at the low end of the chart and not participating in really any of the rally here. Flipping over to energy, so crude, kind of a nothing burger. Just a pause day after a sell-off, little dead cat bounce. We'll see if it, you know, if it starts going sideways, it could put in a flag to move lower. Otherwise, maybe it gets a bounce and retraces, but we'll see what we get here tomorrow. Really not much to make out of today's action. XLE, so talk about selling rotation. Really getting pounded here, down 3.5% through both of these trend lines now. Probably gets a good bounce at that 200 moving average. You got some support right in there. So that looks like that's where it's headed in the near term. But pretty good fall here on XLE. And if we look at XOP, obviously the same kind of thing, kissing that 200 moving average. Nice support right here as well. So it's got a good little support zone, very close to the current price here. Looking like it's trying to bounce early. Nothing terrible there. And then OIH, I tweeted this out a little while ago. It was up about 2.5, 3 weeks ago. OIH was up 50% for the year, and it's up 10% for the year right now. So not to harp on it again, because I know you guys hear me say it every day, but this is why I said don't chase energy, don't chase it, because it's just not going to end well. And if you saved your money, you could have bought it at 220 instead of, you know, 310, or possibly even lower. You know, it probably comes down and fills this gap at some point. But a nice little fade there for energy. Getting a much needed correction, honestly. And nat gas, same thing. So getting through that 650 level. I think this wants to go down to 6. But this is a really good zone here, $6 and $5.50. We had a little bit of an inventory number here today, so that caused it to puke a little bit. But it is starting to get oversold here in the short term. But again, also a much needed correction here, just in the energy sector in general. Dollar index, another nothing burger. It's kind of just backing and filling right now. Could make a case it's making like a little bit of a mini wedge here. no clear direction right now, but it is holding up okay, and we'll respect that. Gold did fade off the highs. See the GLD there, went positive. Then we faded a little bit. It's holding up okay. Big story of the day, though, was the industrial metals. Silver here fading pretty sharply. Basically held this pivot. We'll see what it does tomorrow. Not looking terrible, not looking too hot though. And then platinum, same kind of thing, getting close to those 52-week lows. I still think it needs to head lower. Palladium, same kind of deal, still got that bearish inside bar. And then the big one here, copper. So this blew through my level here at 387. I did not pick any up, thankfully, but I do have a good level for this coming up shortly. I think it's going to be a good level, a tradable level here that we're getting into. But what a sell-off here on copper! And I told you guys a month or two ago when we had that big surge, I said, you know, this is nice. I was expecting it to get a bounce, but I would have felt better if we got down below $4 first, and we never really got there. And now we're fading off pretty sharply. But there are levels here on copper. But what a sell-off there today, down 5% here, 4.99. Big move there for copper, and it is getting really oversold too. So maybe it gets a bounce anyway. Little dead cat oversold snapback rally, but I think the bigger level is a little bit lower. All right, and then on to Bitcoin here. Nothing really much to report. It is, you know, kind of holding up. You do have a little bit of a flag pattern starting to form here, a bullish flag pattern off of the reversal here. But keep in mind, it's in a downtrend. And, you know, like I was saying earlier, how many times have we seen these, you know, kind of bull flag patterns on the spiders or whatever it is fail over the last couple of months because we're in that downtrend. So just be aware of that. Yeah, you know, again, if the market gets a bid, this can get a bid. It's at this point, the bulls really need to prove it, though. You know, what can I say? Again, VIX 29, they keep defending that. Every time I think that the bulls are going to have a chance to push the market higher, the bears just really refuse to let this level go on the VIX. They refuse to let 3,800 break on the futures. And, you know, for me, it's like, you know, from my standpoint, if you're bearish, you know, you should, I would think you'd want that level to break so that you can short it higher. But, you know, the market's struggling with that. It's weak right now. There's not a lot of good news going on. You know, this market's devoid of any good news, and it's really tough to rally right now. But again, we're oversold. We could get the light volume effect to come into play soon, very shortly. We're getting a nice bid here into the close, so maybe we finish at the highs. But again, I want to see those semis start to participate pretty soon. Otherwise, it's going to be problematic, and I don't know how much longer this rally can last, if you even want to call it a rally at this point. But I don't know how much longer it will be able to last if the semis don't pick it up. Anyways, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. You guys take care. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com, and I will talk to you all tomorrow.